serious face.
Right.
Okay.
So, right, are we in serious mode now?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, right, what start off with is trying to get this router test to run. Well, actually, this is Scott Hammer, but Scott Hammer is a real simple test. All it does is try to create a customer. That's it. So it's a similar kind of hello world thing. Now, what was happening was I was getting. It's like, okay, so it's yeah, okay, that is a successful indication that it knows what the test should be. Try to run the test. Assertion error. Now, where that assertion error, this is mostly background information, where that error came from. Actually, I don't think there's anything on there. This is just let you know what I've done. I've already pushed this. Okay, so here's the error. So the old one was, now you see thread path. You define thread path, which is great. But down here,
could you send me that thread over, please?
Sure, I think I already have. But
oh, did you? Sorry, my bad.
I think so. Yeah. Can you check? See if I have.
Sure.
I've sent you.
So I was just sending Jude a get well message.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Wow, that sounds awful. What happened?
Yeah, no. It was, I think, quite painful.
Okay, fixed. It was a prompting error. Okay, I think I'm in.
Have you got it?
I think so.
It's this one here.
Ends in SR3. Okay. The SR3.
SR3 CG6, etc.
Etc. Thanks, buddy.
So, and this is, I don't know whether this is helpful or not, but I've won this.
This is very helpful.
This knowledge over many hard fuck-ups. So I'll let you know. So the problem here was, here's the old one. So the prompt said first reading the file from thread path. However, you previously defined something like thread path, but now you're using a different name. Using the function test case runner underscore OpenAI, and you previously defined that as test case runner colon OpenAI.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Hang on. That colon gets replaced with an underscore, so the bot sees it as underscore.
All right. Well, the inside of the prompt, so this was not being picked up as the same as this. It was thinking it's two different things. Now,
sorry, say that again. This was not the same as what is not the same.
This is the old part of the prompt.
Right.
This part. Old.
Yeah. First read in the file from the thread path using the function blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay.
So you see, you put it in double quotes. It's like, okay, so it's accepted as kind of literal.
So what you've done is you've twiddled with this prompt to get better performance out of the thread runner.
Well, just to actually get it to run, because previously...
Well, it was running before.
Well, I was getting an assertion error.
What was the assertion error? Missing result. Can I just try and trace that through and see where that was? I mean, or is that pointless and you want to skip to the end and be like, you fixed it and now there's a new problem?
Yeah, I fixed it, and there's now a new problem. So the fix was, just to be explicit about it, just make sure that the use of the definitions are consistent. So, again, in quotes, you've already told it what thread path is. Putting it into quotes makes it, I think, seems to take it as literal.
I looked. This is the file that you just committed, right? Yeah, I looked at the diffs for this file. I see what you did different. It is very subtle, but it's better performance, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'll show
okay.
you just on those diffs. Okay, so now I'll rerun the test assessor. It's like there's me changing it, and it's like, okay, it's just the update of the file. Now we're getting somewhere. It's like, okay, I've added the case.
Following along, following along.
Insert, yeah, that's all good. Add case, okay. Right, this is where it gets dodgy. Not sure what's going on here. Well, I've not looked at it, but so up to this point, it's like, okay, so we're not getting an assertion error right at the start. So we're getting further along. Now we've got navigate to the routing settings, change the network settings, confirm the changes in router.test.md. I've not looked at any of this, so it might be obvious. But let me have a look at router test as comparison.
This is pretty cool, dude. I'm gonna say, we're sitting here debugging the same thread.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Yeah. So what's it come up with?
It's missing the file. You wanted to run test router.test.md.
Yep.
Okay, so let me try. I'll share my screen and I'll walk you through what I understand is happening to it. Okay, so we switched to the test file runner agent, which is an incomplete agent, because it runs as a drone.
Yep.
The rewritten prompt is weird, but router hasn't really been. You haven't really tweaked router since I made it, so no wonder it's doing weird stuff.
Why is that weird? It looks like it's just.
Well, the rewritten prompt is supposed to be the prompt that's going to get passed to the new agent. Telling the new agent what the file path to the agent's file is pointless. It's the rewritten prompt should. Well, it doesn't hurt, but it shouldn't be there. I was trying to prompt that out of it, and it's there. Right, so you I don't know if you even want to clean that up, but that's just, I don't do the prompting. I just code here. Okay, I just code.
I'll get around to that. That sounds like a tidy up kind of thing.
Yeah, you are the code guy, the prompt guy. Sorry, shit. Yeah. What happened to my?
I'm not the code guy.
My English. No, right? You're not the code guy. I'm not the prompt guy. Okay, here we are.
Okay, so we got to the TPS report upsert, assessor is correct, agent is correct, test path is correct, iteration is correct, output is error, parsing agent test assessor.md code too big. It's like, yeah, string must contain at most characters. It's not that big a file.
I know that error. I put that in there.
Oh.
1 second, caller. Man, I gotta say, dude, this is like absolutely delightful. And I also added this feature where you can click on the commits, and it rolls you back to the commit in time. So you can.
That's nice, and you can go forward again, I guess.
You can go anywhere. You can time travel.
That is.
You can travel in time. And that's really what the magic is about.
It's an absolute multi-path undo, which is what we're talking about a few calls back.
Yeah, you can't do anything once you're there, so don't get too excited. But yeah, I think that's pretty fucking cool.
That is nice.
Personally, so I can see that between this commit and this one, you created a file, I think.
Yeah, that was at the when I did the update to Test 5 Runner, just because I couldn't be arsed pulling down, doing all that kind of get rid of your key, all that kind of thing.
This is pretty cool. It's starting to, and like the fact that I can see inside the Git structure is like powerful. Like I can understand what I already found a bug in the artifact code that I had never noticed before, only because I'm able to now like view it. Like this is the block explorer.
Yeah. Yes, it is actually. Yeah, you're right. I got a
So the
feeling that this thing we're
agent
working on now.
schema.
What do you think?
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to chat inanely.
What the fuck?
Oh, what's happened?
Why have you double?
That is not correct. So why would that have happened? It's more than double. It's like I did it a number of times. Did not explicitly do that because that would be a stupid thing to do. But that would explain why it's too large.
Yeah, like they say, to err is human, but to really fuck thing up just takes an AI.
Yeah.
Oh, this goes on a while, buddy.
Oh, that looks about the number of times that
Look
I
at the
was
character count.
doing.
That is a 9 megabyte file. Did you really need to write a 9 megabyte agent file?
Well,
It's somewhat
interesting enough,
against our
no.
no, it's a little bit against
So,
our.
oh, right. So we're at 951. Put in, if you can go back to get the latest copy of this, and
from
then go. Just it doesn't
from
matter
GitHub.
actually.
From GitHub.
Yeah, yeah. Because what I was doing, I suspect this is what's happening. It doesn't have to be the same one because I'm just testing a hypothesis here.
Could have said theory. Could have saved yourself some syllables there, my fancy friend.
Yeah. I've got loads of syllables.
You actually don't. You've got a fixed number, and it pays not to abuse them. Now,
Okay,
all right. So you want me to just copy paste that thing in?
And
So that's straight off GitHub.
Yeah. So in your buffer, you've got off GitHub, right?
Yeah.
So if then in the message go files, replace the contents of path with the following : and
Right.
then paste.
Why don't I just do this and then save it?
Yeah, you could do that,
but what's wrong with it?
That command is perfectly reasonable. You might not want to fix it at the moment, but I was saying replace the contents of this file with this. Perfectly reasonable command.
Oh, you're describing to me how the error occurred?
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me, so that's probably here, right? Files update.
Yeah, what did I say above
so
that?
That's an error with the look what's happened there. See, it's made a regex that was wrong. And then it's gone to do the replacement. That's why I actually don't like this regex thing, and I want to replace it with lines in the file, like replace these lines, because that seems more like regex can blow up in your face. And so I put an error there to catch it. Like I was like, you can only have one match. And so I don't know.
5,486.
Yeah. And so here we've read that back in. Oh, it's already started looping considerably.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second, buddy. I think I may have not exited from the regex error early enough. So I'll fix that because I want to get rid of the files function anyway, but I'll fix it just in case that was the problem.
Yeah, cool.
So we go blah, 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 we read it in, then we replace that. No, that it throws before it writes.
So how did it end up looping around and creating 9 megs of the same file appended? I can just avoid that error if you're going to get.
I'm going to kill that thing. I'm going to kill that. I'm going to kill that whole notion of using update and regex.
Yeah.
Here, look, this will be the one.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So that's.
And
fine.
I think what it's done here is it's just lied. Like what's happened is it's gone to write it using that star.star regex because that's what replace was.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was it threw an error, the tool threw an error that said expected 1 matches but found 75. And because I told it 75, it was like, aha. And it went and put expected matches 75 with the same thing, right?
And then only hit the 256 from limit eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah. So let me show you. Well, let me show you another thing that's very, very funny. That a friend of mine probably I brought on a friend of mine to start using the system. He was actually here right at the start when in 2013 when I was like, we need a blockchain, and he was like, that sounds great. So this is what he sent over as an error. I'll let you draw that in, and then I want to point out what's funny about that.
File reasoning. The user requested create a file. Where is the file?
Well, what happened was he asked the agent to write a file, and then the agent was like, "Oh yeah, that's done." And then he was like, "Where's the file?"
Yeah,
because it wasn't there. And then this is what came back. Now, what's scary is that the agent he asked was 01. 01 can't do files. What 01 did here was faked the tool call output and then said, sure, it's done. And that actually sucked me in because I looked at this image and was like, oh, what's that? What's going? And was hunting around and was like, what is going on here?
Oh, that is.
But this chameleon of a snake.
There's a thing here. You know about quiet fails, right? This is like a quiet success. It's like doing the wrong thing, but saying, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's funny. It's hilarious, right? But that's sneaky. That's 01 being sneaky unintentionally.
We're gonna see a lot of these things because as the bots get better, as 01 gets better, it's gonna try every path that it can think of.
Yeah, that's right. But it makes me wonder if there shouldn't be a gatekeeper that looks at it from a distance and says, because you've got the agent trying hard is programmed deep within its DNA to always produce more tokens. Like it must come up with an answer. It never ever is going to be trained to just go, sorry, Dave, I don't know. Right?
Without prompting. Yeah.
But what we can
tell it to do that. We've done that before.
What we can also do is have another bot that looks at the completed response and assesses whether or not the bot should have just shut up. And that bot, I think that loop would have incredible quality gains for us.
I think so, because what you're doing there is you're going from 97% and the occasional error. You multiply two 97% together, or the 3% error, rather, and it's reducing the error. So, we had this concept in the judges.
Right.
I think we
yeah. So basically, I think if we like added just one watchdog loop, there's something fundamentally different about asking an agent to appraise the output of another agent and asking an agent to do some output. I don't believe that there's any amount of prompting you can do that will make the agent successfully assess that it has done the wrong thing, because it can't assess what it's doing while it's doing it.
Not while it's doing it.
No.
You can get the same agent to assess it after it's done.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like the watchdog should have its best shot, and then the watchdog should run. Because we're in Git, we can afford to fork in a branch, do a speculative response, and then call the watchdog once it's come back in, and then discard it with no loss.
And that watchdog can actually be kept quite general.
Very general, yeah. It can be very general, and it can also be quite intelligent, because it doesn't need the whole thread as well. Like it could be like 01 mini, and it doesn't need the entire thread.
But also by taking a kind of step back, it also gets to see the output. So it's like you switch to 01, but you're talking about files.
Yeah. So and it would pick that up, right? So yeah. I didn't actually. I am PTSD'd, if that's even a thing, from all the amount of the horrific miscalculation of the effort required to master navigation in a multi-agent system. And I'm sort of happy with where we are. However, when I was showing my friend today, he was like, so wait, how's the agents thing work? What's the switchboard? What's the router? And it suddenly dawned on me that we know so much about the system that a newcomer just looks at it and goes, what the fuck? So I came up and I want to very tentatively propose a refinement on the navigation topography that we are currently employing.
Mm-hmm.
Please bear with me, and I'm afraid to say this because it means work and delay.
You're going to go back into navigation world.
Yes.
Which you previously said you're twitching at night.
I'm twitching now.
Involuntarily, your left eye is like...
I have navigation nightmares. I understand now why Netscape Navigator was named so, and I understand what a torturous world the web was before a viewer was constructed to roam about it with ease.
And why it needed about 10 years for Darwinians to decide what
was
good.
Yeah, and what we don't hear about is all the almost browsers that people labored, slaved over, mortgaged their homes for, argued about, fought for, all that. All of those almost browsers that died for Netscape Navigator to exist.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right in the middle of it. Yeah.
I do digress. So the proposed change. Yep, the proposed change. Here we go.
Mm.
I would propose to you a single agent system. The single agent is an intelligent and capable agent, but 4.0 mini would be sufficient. This agent takes all the input. It reads the input. It selects an agent from its available list of agents. It runs the agent as a drone, only with the information that was relevant to that topic / channel / thing, because this single agent decides when it's got a task to do. Mm-hmm. It calls on an agent to do a task, and then when the response comes back, this agent doctors the response and presents it back to the human. This doctoring can also include a watchdog process, where it reviews what has happened before approving it for release to the human. And so the system we would start to see would look a lot like the ChatGPT graphic of thinking happening in 01, except for us it's whole models being called possibly in parallel, while the single agent is marshalling all of those calls and appraising the results, because once it has the results, it's that much wiser, and it's not a hard choice to make because it's got all the information.
Okay, so I don't disagree with that. That's kind of what we were looking at with the original switchboard, but the reason that we moved away from the switchboard is your primary bot was making the wrong decisions about sending you to the wrong agent. But now we're talking about drones, and it's like
the switchboard you never leave switchboard. That's the difference.
Yeah, but we paused and perhaps want to delete switchboard.
Demoted switchboard.
And we demoted it because it was if your prompting was ambiguous and so on, it would still try and say, okay, I don't really know what to do with that, but you're a general bot, you tell me, and then it'll just come back. So with the one bot thing, you're saying that you're really enjoying the /. Now I'm talking exactly to this.
It's not that I enjoy the /. I enjoy the stickiness of knowing that I'm talking to who I set up to talk to last time.
Right, but with a single bot at the moment, we could, and in fact have, if you call switchboard our previous version, a shitty version of what you just described.
Yeah, because I could.
Point where you're going, you got to the wrong bot.
Right. But if this single bot was there, it would make it very trivial for me to program this bot using natural language and be like, hey, by default, always call 01 mini, and then every time that I start a new tab, I'm talking to the chaperone bot, but it's programmed to, for me, in my preferences, always call 01 mini.
Well, one way of doing that, because just before we demoted switchboard, which is still my favorite bot actually, switchboard's pretty cool. Now How is off to pasture. The thing I was thinking about with switchboard is I didn't spend enough time in defining which each bot could do, but what could not do. So if you look at switchboard now, the definitions is you can do this. At no point have I ever said, don't even think about doing that. Even trivially.
Well, yeah, but what I'm trying to get at is that it feels like we have been focusing on testing for individual agents, but we also need to do some tests that call the system as a whole so that we can appraise once all the agents are stacked together, getting out results that we would expect to happen from the system, because that starts to test the topography as well as the individual agents.
Yeah, sure. And I think we talked about that previously. God knows how long. I'm losing track now. But when agents can call agents, you should be able to check that. So in the trivial case, the top level agent is asked to do something and calls a drone. There has to be a test for that end to end. That integration.
Yeah. Like, did the switchboard choose correctly? Did the drone behave correctly? Was the response correct? Things like that.
I still think your / idea is a good one in that if it gets it wrong, now, sure, you could do some more prompt engineering, or you could look at, isolates and that sort of thing. But sometimes you just want to say, fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's right. And so I did actually come up with another solution for you. I made these buttons that I didn't actually fill them in. I just wanted to test the concept with you.
I saw those this morning. I was like, ooh, hey, cool.
And so the idea was that all of the available agents would be here so that I could come in and go click, what's all the agents? Okay, I'll pick 01. And then when I type I force the switch to happen.
Right. Because the problem with getting one bot to talk to another bot is the Chinese whispers thing.
Well,
it's like, this is what you meant, or this is what you said. I kind of get what you mean. For example, I think four calls ago was talking about.
No, I get what you mean. Yeah. So, what are we going to do about it, though?
Well, you can jump. What would be interesting to try is, sure, we could effectively. What we're saying is, let's get switchboard back on as your main bot. And we were giving it more intelligence, and there's like, no, we're going to demote you.
All right, so why don't we, I mean, do you think we need to have a change in?
I wouldn't yet.
Because we can kind of make it. This is working, right? Like it ain't.
Yeah.
So how about I'll do this in the interim? I'll implement the button thing so it has all of the agents, so that you can click on it, pick your agent, and then do the switch.
Yes,
yeah.
I think that's a good
a good compromise, right?
Yeah, really, it's like Switchboard is trying to run test runner.
Yeah.
When actually I'm talking about tests and it's picked up wrong because I've worded it wrongly.
Right.
Like,
so what I'll do is I'll keep the / in there as it is. I'll put these buttons in so you can hard select what agent you want, and then we'll use the system as is to get testing done enough that we can have this gatekeeper watchdog style switchboard, like switchboard 2. And once it's tested thoroughly, then we can give that another go. Yeah, does that sound reasonable?
It does, because
do you agree that
testing, we're nowhere.
Yeah. Do you agree that having that single agent model, that you only ever talk to the single agent and then it relays all the calls for you, do you think that that's a better path than this one?
Well,
or not really?
I mean, that's why I was so pro switchboard, because essentially
but that's different though, right? Like, well, switchboard, you're talking to it and then it switches you and then you talk to these other agents. Switchboard doesn't perform that gatekeeper function. Sorry, it doesn't perform the watchdog function.
There's no watchdog function, but also,
and there was no rewriting of your prompt before it sent it to the other agent. It just passed it through verbatim, right?
But also we were we didn't have a rule where switchboard only talks to drones and then always talks to you.
Yeah, that's right.
Now that's I have to think about what the implications of that is, but it feels about right.
Yeah, because that new system, you could always turn it off and you're like, hey, switchboard, I'll take control of the switching now, thanks. And then you can go into this mode like we have right now.
Well, you can do that now because, well, you can do that now, but soon you've got your pull up menu, which implies I'm taking over. So I'm not
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay. All right. So we'll leave it at that, and then once we get some more time, because with this system here is good enough to build testing and do testing and all that with, and we should get some actual testing done with it, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. So if we go back to router.test.md, and if you can just cut and paste assessor over the 9 meg file.
So test assessor, I fixed that. And
so
you want to go back? Yep. And you want me to go back to router.test?
Yeah. So now it's test file runner run router.test.md. That's the thing I'm trying to get to completion and work. Because as soon as I get that, then I'm cooking on gas.
So this line.
Yep. Finally feels like we're building a system here, actually.
It's kind of scary. It feels like a AI native, cloud native computer that's just a bare bones x86 system with a file system, the ability to write stuff, and an AI attached to it.
But it's not even an AI attached to it. It's NL all the way down.
NL all the way, yeah. It's kind of scary. It's like, this is actually our system, and you could feasibly, assuming all the features that I promised you worked, you could feasibly sit here and write any piece of software.
Yeah, sure.
Because this is literally, like, what are the fucking tools going to change beyond this? It's like text, read some text, run some text.
The tools are going to be tiny in comparison, ultimately, to the number of agents. The number of agents are going to be as wide as your imagination.
It's pretty wide, my imagination, but I wouldn't. Maybe a little bit scarred and broken. Iterations completed 0. Nope, something happened.
Hold on, I'm going to have to... I seem to be steaming up here a bit, which is odd. So, like the...
Getting all excited about the old TPS report.
Something like that. Or it might have to do with me having the heater on because it's winter's coming.
Oh, it's like it bombed.
Oh, that's much better.
You know what I should do?
What's that? Well, yes, I do, but you need to be more specific.
I should make it so that these logs can be consumed by you inside of the platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could look at why the hell things are going wrong too.
Well, it was an interesting process. You know, that fault, just to get past the misprompting. That wasn't done manually. What I did was I took it out to another tab, gave it all the information, and said, here's the prompt, here's what I thought it should have done, and here's what it actually did. And it said, I spot it. You know, you put it inside of quotes when, you know, quotes are resolved with that underscore, but previously you didn't have any quotes and you had a quote.
Oh, a bot found that fault.
A bot found that fault, yeah.
God, I was like, this fucking guy is a genius. How did he know that's such a subtle thing? And I was like, I have no idea how to prompt. And I was like, I don't even know. Okay, so it was a bot, huh?
Yeah, don't back off of this guy's a genius thing, because you know, you can create a statue later on.
A statue? Fucking, I know what statue I'd make.
That was about 10 minutes of prompting or talking to a bot, and it's like, oh yeah. That's fine.
The execution has completed, but there was no meaningful output. Okay. It's like it didn't actually do the thing.
Well, that's I think in the WhatsApp thread it said a trace, because it's very difficult to step or to break. Even that's probably too much effort than it's worth. But it's like,
oh, you want? Hey, no, hang on. You are onto something. Are you telling me? So here is a series of what seems like an agent has gone ballistic, and it is running things here. Are you asking me for breakpoints so that I can cause the system to stop until you click the go button to tick to the next thing?
Yeah, exactly. It's like next step, or put a break in, or put a stop in if it's going wild. All that usual
mate,
stuff.
That's really good. I can do that. And then I could probably, if I could do that, I could give you rerun, so you could go back to a spot.
Yeah. Because at the moment it's like chundering through, and it's like
chundering.
It's a Scottish word usually used, not to do with vomit, but
no.
So no, it's not.
Why do you take common words that the rest of the world knows and change them to be slightly different? And why are they always like offensive words to the rest of the world, and you try to make them all fine and dandy and proper? Like router. It's like, oh, my router was...
It's because we come up with the words to start with, and you guys like make them, you know, unacceptable.
Mate, if you had stayed on your island, we wouldn't know your words, would we?
That's fair point.
Fair point, well made, I would say. Okay, so what you're asking for then is you'd turn on breakpoint mode somehow. There'll be like yet another button in the ever-growing clutter of buttons down here from the guy that wanted to never make UI again. And then you would you would click next, 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 or free running, and then that would cause one tool call at a time to be made, right?
Yeah. Now the immediately follows is the well, why did that happen thing. So in code, it's easy enough. You can go, you go back to assembler. It's like next,
Right.
next, 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 next.
Hey man, you are now talking about some interesting shit because you are asking for an NL decompiler
Yeah.
/ debugging view,
Right. And you
which
don't
is
want it
gonna
every
be
time.
no.
Exactly.
It's like
Keep
when
looking
you
to.
breakpoint, when it breakpoints, you want to be able to get a bot to look at all the NL and go, "This is probably
Yeah.
what's going on," right?
Right. Yeah, yeah. And this is everything that's happened, even down
Right.
into isolate calls.
And now
And
you
then
probably want to be able to
this
chat
is
with
the
that.
output. Yeah,
Because you want to be
exactly.
able to, hey, it should be doing this. Why is it doing this? Well, Dave, blah, blah. And then it's because it's
Right.
frozen,
Right.
it's
That's
now
exactly what
like,
it did to when you
whew, that
earlier.
is cooking.
Well, you know,
Whew.
there's another statue coming somewhere. But why I managed to, pass myself off as a genius is that's basically what I did. Like took the whole thing into another bot, which is the
Right.
same as inline. At this point,
Man, that is
what's going
sneaky.
on?
You were going to be quite happy to just take the credit for that because you said it to me like it was like, hey, mate, I took a look at your, right? That was
Yeah,
you. You were
I was
like,
like,
hey,
I was spotted this really obscure error in it.
okay, I'm gonna fucking pull that up for how like authoritative that seemed, right? When all along, some sort of an artificial intelligence was busy. Hang on,
Yeah,
here we go.
yeah. Okay, fixed it. Well, that was about 10 minutes of prompting going, what the fuck is going on? Dump, 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 dump. It's like,
And then
I could,
you,
I think it's probably still got
and then
the,
you were sitting there on the recording, pointing at the differences, and you're like, you see this line? You see, you've got double quotes here, and the double quotes mean that, like, holy shit, man! You were like,
right. Do you want to, just for shits and giggles, I can show you I've still got it up because
yeah.
I took it into platform just to keep away from,
Any prying eyes that might
recursive.
realize you didn't do it yourself.
Yeah, no, any recursive stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, right. Okay, right. I'll give you some code and an error. I didn't define what those. Give me insights into why this error coming. Here's the code. It's like, boom, right. So we
Oh, did you
recognize
pull in
that.
the actual isolate code? Holy shit, dude,
Yep,
that's fucking genius. So
yep,
you'd have an NL decompiler that also pulled in all of the source code of Artifact and
right.
was like, um, it's not working like I expect. Why?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
the whole
oh
thing.
my
So
god, that's
I dug
crazy.
into, well, there it is there. I dug into Git because I was throwing an error on test runner. I got that from the original run, pulled that in, and it's like, where the error occurs, your iteration function is this.
Right.
And
And so
it's,
that should
yeah,
really be like that seems not too hard to make that part of our platform where it can always have the latest version of the artifact code. And when
right,
you hit breakpoint debugger, it means we're going to be looking at the code. And then
yeah,
it can troll through all the code files and be like,
exactly. But
oh
the
my
really
God.
interesting thing is, the first thing is, does the agent exist? It's like, that's a good point. Let me check. Yes, it exists. Agent functionality. Verify the accessor agent is correctly implementing capable of processing content. Okay. Zone function, unhandled exceptions, etc. So I came up with a whole bunch of stuff. But then, having read through that with, it's not exactly genius, but it's like a little bit of insight. It's like, okay, so I'll give you a hint. It's like, here's it's designed to perform two actions. Read the thread file, call the assessment. Yeah, okay, yeah, possible errors. Inconsistent function naming, mismatch in function names. It's like,
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah,
There you
but
go.
that's wrong though, because that we need to address that somehow. But I can't get rid of that underscore. Or yeah,
Well, it's working. And then the
yeah, but that
first
you change.
three.
See, you change several things at once, so you don't know which one of those fixes changed it. I guarantee you, it's
That's
not the function call rename.
that is true. That is true. So it's like it's picked up third path reasoning, adjust the agent's instructions. It gave me the before and after for each one.
Right.
I didn't do add logging. It's like,
Right. And so what I would typically do here is then I would just let O1 say whatever it's saying, and then I'd call in 4.0 and be like summarize, and then
right, right.
it comes out with something quite nice.
Well, this is O1, and it did a pretty good job in that
Yeah.
all it did was talk to it. Well, you can see the length of the thread is not that long. It takes longer to read the fucking results
Yeah, I
than
know,
anything
right?
else. And it's like, oh, that sounds spookily close to what possibly could be doing. Let me check it. So I cut and paste, and I, hey, right, we got past that log jam.
Okay,
Back to
so
me commit.
the debugger, can I let you step any smaller than a function call by function call? Not really. Yeah, not really.
But there's a possibility of a debugger bot, which is essentially an O1 dumb bot.
Right.
So long as you dump the trace of what's just happened,
Right.
and you go, what's going wrong here? Because
Right.
remember, my original thing was real kind of.
Yeah. Please finish the thought. Please finish the thought. Don't tell me about. I don't care about the history. What was the?
Yeah. The original idea was I just said this. I'm getting an error here. Man, help me out. I didn't have to. Why is something? I didn't do anything more than saying I'll give you some code and an error. Give me insights into the errors occurring. That is really easy in terms of a debugger,
Right.
so long as you give it enough information. I didn't tell it what. I didn't tell it some of it was a prompt, some of it was code.
It just figured it out from
It
the
figured out
implication.
what was what. Yeah. So that bot may be trivial to write.
Well, that's
Saying
the thing. I'll tell you what
what's
I
going
have
on
been
here?
having nightmares about, and that's Dumbot eating the world.
Oh, Dumbo is going to eat the world. Just
I
whether
know, but are
we're
we
on an
sure
island.
that our value proposition remains if Dumbot has consumed all of his peers?
Um, I'm not sure we can actually do anything about it, but I still think that our proposition where the edge of chaos between humans
Right.
and bots is the
Right.
thing
And if
is
you've
that
got a
can't
net,
slip into.
if you've got a network of people that are held together by a system that they co-created that's working for them during the journey of Dumbot to Superbot, then that's a valuable thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you think the reductio ad absurdum is that what just happened on the screen here was entirely done by the box itself. So it got an error, fixed it. I didn't have to do anything. It's like, well, okay, so where are we going to retreat to? We retreat to the local knowledge, which we were talking about the other day.
Right. And
We retreat to,
safety of data, like the data structure of Git seems independent, completely independent of AI. Like how
yeah,
you store your data, manage your data, do your computation, that seems independent of how good the AI gets.
yes,
Like that you choose those two things completely freely.
yeah,
So
yes,
I guess
yes,
our offering then is critically it is the blockchain once again, but it just so happens that being the cradle of a very powerful AI system that has a social network on top of it is
yeah.
kind of
Well,
more
the
important than just
network,
blockchain alone.
the network is the chaos. which adds information which is not available to the bots.
Yeah. That's right. It gives the bots purpose. It gives the bots seed, spice.
Yeah. And then once they know about that, then the flame front moves forward, but stuff always changes. And so you're still relying on the humans to say, stuff's changed, here's a new thing. The bots are never going to be able to do anything other than ingest data that has been recorded somewhere.
Maxwell, that is a beautiful thing. Breakpoints in the thread, an NL decompiler that you can chat to, and then the ability to read the artifact code and say, why is it not working like I want?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes down to prompting.
Yeah, and at the moment, it was quite interesting because it just like ate it for like lunch, and then it was like it talked about possible code errors and possible prompting errors at the same time.
Right. And so something else I learned from having the reasoning step in the function calls is that it tells you what terms it prefers. So when it starts describing the situation, if you use its own terms, you're talking its language. Whereas if you come in with your own terms, it's not as in tune with the bot itself. That's what I found.
I would agree with that. The thing I would add to that is it's quite happy to map terms, but not if you just go off-piste and make up your own terms.
Yeah.
From one paragraph to another, you're talking about the same thing but using different terminology. It's going, well, quite reasonably. It's like, well, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it is very reasonable. That is kind of crazy, dude. That is kind of crazy. Let me just give me a moment. So that's a different level of step than a typical debugger, because I had been imagining that in the commit graph I could hook up a debugger that I would be running in Visual Studio Code or some serverless version of it, and then I would start my debugging process that would hook into Deno deploy, and then when I clicked on a commit and clicked go, that's when the debugger would hook, and it would then allow me to rerun the code and analyze the debugging. Mm-hmm. But what you're talking about is that's just trying to analyze pure code. And I was like, well, maybe I can make that be an AWS Lambda function so that O1 can have the debug data and can set the debug breakpoints and can get this. I was thinking of like an AI-friendly debugger that doesn't need buttons clicked. It's like the bot sets the breakpoints and then the thing runs and then gives it the debug data for the breakpoints, and that's what a loop looks like. So if you made a debugger that was friendly for the AI, then the AI can just sort of drive it endlessly until it's like, asking questions like, what variables would I like to see at what point? Oh, this one. Okay, let's rewrite it, rerun it, and does all that type of thing, right? So you can give it some debuggability. But what you're talking about is NL debugging, because code debugging should theoretically disappear because all the code is done and it's like reliable and we don't need any more features. But we will need NL coding for the rest of our days, and we will spend the rest of our lives trying to debug NL if we don't get the NL to solve its own problems.
Yeah, exactly. All the dynamic stuff very soon is going to be in NL, not in the code. The code.
So bugs are in NL now.
Yeah.
I hadn't quite comprehended that deeply enough. And then to navigate that, you need an NL debugger that allows you to look back in time, so I could take using the Git stuff, I could roll back in history to different commits and then run the NL debugger at that point as well, because each of these commits actually represents a step in terms of the thread. So
right, yeah.
So I can actually, I can,
Sorry, go on.
I can bond the step to be commits because they actually map remarkably well between the NL step and the Git step. In fact, I might actually, now that you bring this up, I might make that a definition within the system that it's like one permit per NL step. And then in that way, the debugger is practically here already, and all you're asking for is for the analyzer to look at that commit situation and you chat with it at that point.
Yeah, and the question that you're chatting, start question is, what just happened?
Right.
It's like,
so like it's even good as a explainer of like, tell me what's going on inside the NL system.
Why did you do that? It's like, well, I did that because I couldn't find, test assessor underscore, and then you go, well, why couldn't you find that? I'm looking at the prompt now. It's like, well, it's because you put it inside of double quotes, and I read that literally. You remember 3 calls ago when I can't remember which bot it was, the bot to consider itself by telling it where its own sysprompt was, and right, ignore that because I can. To assess itself, because I pointed it at its own sysprompt, and I went, oh, is that what I meant to do? Oh, that's inside of my brain. That's like, yeah, you've got this bit wrong. And I'll just cut and paste that, and hey, the thing started to work. So that ability to say what just happened, and then chat about it. It's like, well, why did that happen? It's like, yeah, shit. Sorry, my bad. Sorry.
That is an angle that I had not previously considered that amplifies the power that you get from having these the full system state being committed. Because if you did not have a Git like system state,
then
you could not
it.
could not recreate the conditions that the NL looked at very easily.
And further to that, you certainly could not then ask another agent to say, okay, look at all this. What's going on here? Don't make me think too hard about it, but here's the state, and here's what I thought would happen, and that didn't happen. Okay. Well, here's the change you need to make. Oh, thank you very much. Which is effectively what did, with copying and pasting over to platform, just to keep it away from it, but it was real powerful, and
dude, that's
I do believe you called me a genius. I'm going to hold on to that one. That's definitely on record.
No, what the words I used was you tried to act like a genius. That is remarkable. That is remarkable. And so you could step through each individual little thing and get an explanation of what's going on under the hood.
And then talk at meta about that's not what I expected. Can we talk about this? And it's like, well, here's why you got there.
Right. And then you could modify you could modify the NL and then rerun it in a fork and assess the result.
What would be brilliant is, say if now we got 6 agent calls there, and it's gone wrong at some point. So I'm looking down, interrogating. It's like, no, the first one fine, I did it. Second one fine. Third one, that's gone wrong. Talk to a bot. It's like, oh, here's why it's gone wrong. Okay, so let's fork. I'll make the change. and then let's roll back to the previous and then rerun it and see if it's fixed.
Yeah.
Because so if you think about each of these steps, is step 1 worked, step 2 worked, step 3 weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to talk to a bot about the step 3 weirdness. I'm going to make changes and let's fork, and now I want to run it from step 2 again. Now I could go all the way back, but if you think about something that's quite deeply nested, really what I want to do is to run from the last known good position.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, so I'll fork there. Again, this is quite serendipitous, really. We've got the whole kind of forking thing in threads, but
man.
Back and go, okay, so half of this worked, and then
Yeah.
it totally messed up.
Right.
I see what it is. I've talked to you about what it is. I made some changes.
Oh, of course, this makes so much sense now. Like that was a feature that we were hungry for in 2017 with the blockchain pieces. We wanted to be able to go back in time, patch the code, and then rerun everything that came after to get back to the present day. But like that's cool and all, but in reality, the chances of you needing to do that are very, very rare. It's something you... Whereas in the NL world, what I am only just realizing is that theoretically your code, the fact that you have to roll back and patch your code says that you fucked up majorly. But the NL world, you have always fucked up in a way. Like you've always... It's a probabilistic system, so it's never concretely right. And so that ability to roll back and patch is like
oh, you're right, actually. Yeah.
You know, it's foundational. It's foundational because what you've just described here, that workflow is the exact same workflow that I use on the conventional code in Visual Studio Code. I run the code, I stop it, I roll back, I patch it, I look inside the debugger view, I make some changes, I rerun it. But you've just said, well, what is that debug process, which is common to all programming languages? All programming languages have that. What is the equivalent in the AI world and in the sysprompting world? And this is it.
Yeah.
And it's not that we roll back, patch, and roll forwards as a, whoop-de-doo, that's what you do in a production system. It's like that's what you do when you're developing the system, and it allows you to develop the system on the fly so that it's sort of, you can be in production, in quotes, and then you can spot this fault and then do the work on it to fix it sort of in situ, and then push your changes up. Like, there's not, like, you're not miles downstream from the gods on high writing the code. As a user, you're kind of just as skilled as all the programmers too, because it's all just who knows English the best, right?
Yeah.
And who can drive the bots. The bots are doing all the thinking and the work, and you're just pointing them at the problem. So if this process is now available to every human that uses the system, that is not a hard thing to learn, especially with a bot chatting to you.
It's not hard, and also remember that we've also got the test suite. So, say if you're down there and it's like, you got it wrong, here's a fix that fixes this thing but breaks something in somewhere else. You can't push because you've got the test suite.
Yeah, that's right.
But then the results of the test suite can be added to what you're trying to do, and the bot will go, okay.
Yeah.
Here's a better way of doing it.
God, that is just raw power to be able to pull in the code base that the whole thing is running on and then think about what's not working.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, X-ray goggles, isn't it?
Yeah, well, my world just got opened up with this file explorer. Like I can see so much more now about how Artifact works under the hood.
Well, by the way, that's a beautiful thing, because probably I'm using it differently from you're using it.
Right.
But I'm using that instead of scrolling up on the left-hand side, saying, what did I just say? It's like a shorthand for, I said something to a different bot at this point, and I were, using this bot.
Right.
And conceptually, it's just a lot easier to figure out what the hell I've been just saying after being talking to the bot for half an hour. Right. You just go, it's like, I was talking to one bot. Oh, there's another one. And then, I did. Yeah, I remember that. So that commit graph, to start with, I didn't know really what it's, other than it's going to be useful, right? Because we're exposing data.
It's the real system. There's nothing else to expose beyond that. Like, that's literally all there is to it.
In the kind of meat brain world, though, what it is effectively, I was talking to this, in our infinite company, I was talking to, Alan, and then, Bro came through, and then Charlie came through, and then, I went back to Alan. And it triggers something in terms of short-term memory that's really easy to follow.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So it's like, that's what it did. Yeah. And when you're like half an hour into it, it's like, what was saying last to Debbie?
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's where it was.
What?
Talking to Debbie at that point.
What are you doing?
Now, the using the hashes and that sort of thing, not the best, but we've still got to go back and talk about how to name these things.
Yeah, what are you going to name them, eh?
But at the moment, that's not necessary.
I guess, and another type of question too is do we even need to expose them? Like, does it really matter what the path to this thread is? Could I not just make that the thread and then a summary of the topic? That's sort of like,
well, it's
hashes are only there because
if you go to commit graph right now, yeah. If I just hovered over one of the pink blobs,
yep,
and I said, you were talking to Charlie. It's like, it's like you were talking to Charlie about this at that point.
Right.
I was like, it's like someone reminding you of what your conversation is.
Oh, so like that could be topic, and then it changes as the commits go on. You mean?
Right? Yeah. So if you go down to a fork, there you go. Right.
Merges. Those are merges. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So that one you're hovering on, you could hover over that, and it's like
what the topic was.
Previously, you were talking to Blue about this, and then you wanted to talk to Cyan about that. It's like, oh yeah, so it did.
So it did.
Yeah. So the hashes, I think, it feels like there's a solution. That's not on our main line of stuff to get done, but it seems like there's a solution there,
right?
Which is for each of the blobs. It's like, why did that hash get committed? Is because you asked this. Here's a summary of what you asked for. Hover over. And it's like, move to a different bot. Why did I do that? It's like, hover over. Oh, all right. You asked Debbie to come through, and Francis, you asked to come through next.
Francis.
Or whatever, I'm running out of names. But, and then it's like, so it's an aide-memoire of your own thought process as you're going through the thread.
Right. And then hopefully we can, in short order, hook up chatting about the thread too, so it can sort of be processed and searched.
Like, why did you call Francis in?
I'm excited, buddy. I'm excited because now that we have this visualization and these tools, now we can actually start to build the real guts of the system, because we only really needed to get just enough system to have this type of feature, because now we are accelerating.
Yeah, and you're asking, at what point do you stop using VS Code? I'm only using VS Code because I can't be bothered going onto a command line to do a commit That's only, I don't know, just my...
So basically, if I could give you commit back to GitHub, you'd be done with VS Code.
Yeah, wouldn't need it. It'd be like...
What other tools do you use in a day that would be the next thing we need to replace for you?
Well, we've already got the idea of branch, and then I'm going to type in to the editor, save to the editor. I've got merge, and it's like, okay, I'm going to merge back up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know, depending on what level you're at, because it could be nested, I guess. Then there's like a commit. Basically, everyone gets to know this.
Right.
I guess the only other thing that I'm missing at the moment is kind of one folder structure to rule them on, kind of thing.
Uh-oh.
It's like,
that sounds dangerous. What is that about?
It's okay. So I'm still saving files to my laptop because it's like, you know, I've got these various threads. It's like, yeah, I might be half done. Jude calls me in for, you know, Rob and Josh. It's like, okay, I'm just going to save something that I don't want actually to go up. So I'm going to go like temp underscore or whatever.
Yeah.
So something like that. But again, that's not on the main line.
Well, I think that there's a feature coming soon that will give you that, and that's the ability for you to browse all of your threads. So when you're here in one thread, you can be like a almost like a file explorer, but it lets you see what threads you've got, as well as I'd imagine what topic they're currently on and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you can, because the structure we've got at the moment, where you can actually have different contents of folders and files, depending on what level you're at and whether you've merged or not. What will be quite useful is, again, this is way not on the main line, but it's like a search. It's like, well, when was the last time I changed test file runner? I was like, you changed test runner here, and you did here. Which one are you talking about? So, but that's not core for it. But I can easily see that once it gets reasonably, complex, that'd be useful. But it's not necessary. I've got that on my want a pony for a Christmas list.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
So, at the moment, we've got multiple file structures depending on the thread you're in.
Right, so the files are different because of what you modified in each thread, right?
Right, but they look very similar. So, say if...
right, because they're derived from the same base file system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
what's the problem?
Thread now, if you go to File Explorer... yeah. Okay, so that looked a lot like the same, because mostly it's the same File Explorer to your 1UP. Now, if I add a file onto that and then go back on a thread, maybe go back on a thread again, it would be quite useful to be able to search. Okay, so you created.
So are you going to say you want to be able to see which threads you have that are dirty, like they have changed files, and what those files are, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's part of that feature I'm planning for you. When you go to browse your threads, you'll also be able to see what files are different in each one from the 1UP branch, and then you'll know where there's like dirty files that you may need to save. Would that solve what you're talking about?
It would do, but say if I'd got two remotes from the same parent, I'd created two versions of different files, and I thought, actually, I can't remember which one I'm talking about at the moment. So it's a discovery thing. It's like,
so you'd want to be able to get it to read both of them and compare?
Yeah, or, even just ask questions about it, which, which of these files did I create yesterday morning? Because
right.
I know in my meat brain it was yesterday morning. That's the
Right.
one.
Yeah. Right. So
I can't even remember a string to search.
that should be fine once we can enable cross-branch browsing in the agents. So once they're aware of the concept of branch, then they would know about what it means to talk about your branches, and then they would know about changed files on those branches. And so then you could be like, yesterday I was blah blah blah, and it knows, okay, it narrows down the thread, the number of branches that you're talking about, looks at ones with dirty files, finds the two that match, and then reads the files, reads the diff, talks to you about it.
Right? Yeah, precisely. And again, this is not on the main line of stuff that we need to deal with.
I think that's pretty important, but yeah, it's
coming. Okay, let time go. Oh, it's still quite early actually.
Mate, that debugger is like, oh my goodness. That's power right there. That is amplification.
Yeah.
Because I'd been thinking maybe I can get, because there are still a lot of artifact features that need to be put in at some point, or, you know, tuning and other things like that. And I just was hoping I could get the artifact code to be parsable by O1 so that it can sit there with me and I can basically do the development in the browser, because it's all just being run and debugged on back-end Lambda functions, not my local machine anymore. And so that would also make it very trivial for anyone to make a commit or a contribution to the code, because they would turn up and use the AI to chat about the individual pieces of code and run the conventional code tests in, you know, on platform. And so they wouldn't have to spin up their own environment, navigate through all the files. They'd be able to chat directly with the specifications bot that knew about what the code meant and what the plans for the code were.
Wouldn't it be cool if you were making changes to either NL or an isolate, and the tests were running, and a bot stepped in saying, if you make that change, if you commit that change, you know you're going to break one of the tests, right?
Yeah, because yeah.
It's like, so think again, because that's going to break a test.
Right.
NL, the way I'm looking at it, NL is just a programming language that happens to be in English. And that's it. So, you know, if you can go to like Prolog or the very tightly coupled imperative languages, and you go other languages that are a bit more cool and groovy. This is the most cool and groovy programming language you can imagine, but it's still a programming language.
Yeah, and you still need a debugger.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
It's super interesting. So that actually makes a lot of sense to build that component, because being able to make isolates, like just ignoring making artifact, but being able to build isolates very rapidly using NL and widgets as well, that you shouldn't need to be a coder to really make a contribution there if you've got these bots that are helping you understand. And because isolates are so small.
Yeah, if we do it right, we've failed if you do need a coder. You know, it's quite interesting because my code is so rusty now that there's no way I was ever going to go into the repo and actually change any of the isolates. But still managed to debug and realize that
that was amazing. Like
was in the prompt.
Yeah.
And it was
like,
I mean, I can do that. Yeah, because that's my partnership. If it was in the isolate, it wouldn't be a great step.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You actually thought there was a fault in the isolate, didn't you?
Yeah. I thought, there's something going on here, because the error being thrown had an isolate name on it. I was like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
and it could have been in the isolate. Happened to be in the prompt, so I could change it.
Mm.
If it was in the isolate, it's like through NL, it's like, no, this is wrong. This is why this is happening, because you've just told me, agent, you just told me this is wrong. Can you fix this? And then run the test, and you say, no, that fix is not going to work because it's going to fail this test. Then next step would be, is it the change or the test that's wrong? So let's look at the test. And again, you got your NL helper. It's like, maybe I want to update this test. If you update this test, what are the implications of it? But all of it is an NL, all the way down, or should be. So the actual code piece becomes somewhat irrelevant because O1 is, I don't know what the latest metrics are. I think I saw one set of metrics, which is 97%. And it's like 97%. It's just going to get 3 nines pretty soon. It's like 3 nines is better than, some dude earning 60 grand a year.
100%. Yeah. And the fact that it can try 1,000 scenarios in an hour.
Yeah, but also check for self-consistency, which comes back to the testing. Because even, a Balzer coder making a fix to this local problem doesn't necessarily, in his own head, in his RAM, as it were, know all the implications of that. So it's like, run all the tests, which is what unit tests are, and then you've got the integration tests, and it's like, well, okay, let's run the integration tests. And part of the integration test is the thing that you're trying to fix. Have you fixed it, or have you broken anything else? That, I think we're only a couple steps away from doing that. I can see the path to doing it.
Dude, in terms of tools, so close.
We've got the tools, right? We just need to clank the tools together, and get them working with each other. But I could easily see that, where okay, so I'm going to try and make this change. Yeah, that's not what I was expecting. Okay, so then you add your human spice, and it's going, this is actually what I was expecting, but you might not say it in the way you meant to. It might not be clear, totally ambiguous, unambiguous, and so on. And then NL will say, okay, is this isolated the problem? Right, here's a possible fix. And it's like, okay, if I should commit that fix, does it break anything? Run all the tests. No, it doesn't break anything. And also, it fixes the test of what you originally intended to do. In that case, great, commit. Pretty heady stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, that is fabulous. That is amplification.
Yep. Yeah. That's
okay.
That's twice this week that I've managed to con you into thinking that I'm a fucking genius by saying, right, this very small part, all we need to do is change a couple characters and boom, it works. That's twice this week. And not once have I actually done the work, other than prompting the bot to say what's going on here, and then putting in a bit of human spice saying, you came up with a whole bunch of possible causes. That looks the one that's most likely. So, right, fix that one. That's twice. I think 01 is an order of magnitude better than...
01's smart, dude. 01 is smart. It's very verbose, but 40 is good at crushing verbosity, but 01 is borderline genius.
It is, and it's a bit like, you've got this genius guy in the back office who's telling you the answer, and then you're going out to the rest of the company saying, the answer is this. And then you go, oh my god, you need a statue.
I know, and then turns out you just need money for credits. So you just need tokens. Okay, so what now?
What I'd like to do is to run down the remaining blockers to running that router.test.md, because I need that to run, because then I can get the hammer.test.md.
Right, so I'll tell you why that sounds great. I agree with that, and I support you in it. Let me show you the angle I'm coming from with running that test file. When I run the test file in my local machine, where was it? Oh yes, it was the test file runner test. Right, so here's all it does is it just loads up that test file. It effectively does what you're doing on the platform, but it calls it directly as a drone. Yeah, so
okay.
So I'll run it.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, what? What? Oh, fuck you.
You know, every time you swear, you do it in a Scottish accent now.
Yeah, well, that's where the majority of the potty language I hear comes from.
Potty language. Oh my god, that's so adorable. Oh, fuck potty language.
Yeah, filthy mouth. Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Go on, my son. Come on. Go on, my son.
Stand still, laddie. How can you eat
if
your
you've not
potted
eaten your meat?
if you don't eat your meat?
It's running. It's trying to do something.
Give it time. It does. You probably you want debug data, don't you? That's what you're asking me for.
Well, I'm just looking for a fix.
I know, and that fix is logging, isn't it? So here is your logging. I will give you a lot of logging.
So that's why is it no doing that?
What are you doing? Okay. So it called reject. So it's not actually working for me. So that's sort of good for you, I guess.
Well, not really, because I'm stuck. Hold on. While you're doing that, let me have a look. See if I can get
What you
more
doing?
precise. Because I can. Right. Because I've not actually looked at this latest one. Router test. User initiated. Yes, this needs to be handled by test file. Correct. Why? I've got router diagnostics expectations. Router responded within 3 seconds. Why 3 seconds? Where does that come from?
Sorry? What file are you looking at? Can you share your screen?
Sure. A second. Yeah, where did that come from? I don't really care about time, and that's weirdly specific.
I didn't write that.
TPS report and case. Because the very next thing is error.
Let's read the actual file.
There's my cursor. Do you want to take the screen over again? Or do you want this one?
this is, I think you have a hallucination there. This is the contents of router.test.md.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that sounds like what you were seeing there. Did you save this file up? That you're in a new branch, right?
Yeah, in the one we're sharing at the moment.
Oh, you're in this. You're in this. Okay.
Same one. Yeah. Like root responded within 3 seconds is an expectation.
That's been hallucinated in there.
Alright, TPS report add case code and valid expected array receives string prompt case message valid type expected array. Required expectations required, and that's an expectation.
That's definitely prompting error, but I'll tell you what I can do is I can change the add case function to also give us reasoning.
Yep, and also, what am I talking to here? TPS report and test file runner. I can say test file runner, you wait as long as it takes. Let me do that. Test file runner. Why would I think 3 seconds has got anything to do with it? That's curious.
Did some of your examples leak out into the prompt?
No, and I can start. Well, let me do a complete fresh one, so that we know this is repeatable.
I'll add reasoning to the add case function. Would that help, or is that just getting in the way?
Well, it certainly helped, but I'm not sure it would answer it. I'm going to.
So using the tools we just spoke about tonight, what you would expect to do is start the debugger, and then start a chat about that thread and be like, why did it add these functions in? I wanted it to do this thing, right?
Yes. Well, ideally, I'd be like, okay, I've got. Hold on a second.
Would you like the reasoning call in there, or should I? It's feeling kind of pointless. Should I just leave it out?
Well, if it's easy, stick it in because it's more info.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's going to solve this one. I'm just rerunning the entire thing. So test assessor is being replaced. Operation has been completed. Okay, good stuff. Okay. Then what did I say? I said run router. Okay, well, let's try this. This could be a manual prompting error. So I want to run it again just in case. So, right, I've got test assessor. Let's have a look at test assessor.
Okay, I'm going to upgrade the platform with the reasoning added.
That's correct. Okay, so I think I'm just going to glue some extra home keys onto my keyboard here because I've worn them out. So I can't find the home keys on 1VR. It's really fucking irritating. At least I can put a couple bits of concrete onto it or something.
Well, yeah, I also learned that we should somehow tap into our copy-paste keys, because I think every time you hit Control-C or copy on your computer, there's a platform function that you're missing. Like, you should never need to copy-paste in our platform.
Yes. Yes, I'm well up for that. I get twitchy every time I have to do control C. Tests is router. router.test.md. Okay. Off it goes. Good stuff. What are you doing? Name of an alias node must contain at least one character. What? Hold on. Agents. Start test file runner.md. Run tests. Router test.md. Let's run a specified test file with the command. Put clearly which matches the functionality of the agent responsible for running test. Well done. Path. Yep, correct. Please run test located at router.test.md. Okay. Test file runner. Agent. Test assessor. Name of an alias node must contain at least one character. Oh, this could be interesting.
Can you share your screen so I can see? This sounds interesting.
Yep. Okay, so this is start a new one. Dead easy. I just give it the data test assessor with, getting rid of the underscore thing, even though it might not matter.
Can you show me the files call that resulted from that?
Sure.
Oh yeah, cool. That completely overwrote it. I will remove the update function from files. Yeah, because that update thing is just causing problems.
Yeah. And it's like the content file agent test assessor. Let's check. Where are my agents?
What you doing?
Test assessor. Yep, that's the correct one. So it's got the correct file. And then I said test file runner, run test router. And then it comes up with this. User wants to run tests on specified test file. Command and test file path are provided clearly. Matches functionality.
Yep. So that's all good. Happy days.
And then
test file runner running as a drone does not talk. What a great feature.
Okay, so I'll put config parallel tool calls false tool choice required commands.
Oh wait. What?
He's trying to call.
Bring up the test assessor again. Show me the test assessor. Scroll up to the top. Yeah, scroll up to the top of the. No. Stop. In the file browser, show me the top of the file that you're currently viewing, the test assessor. Yep. And show me the error that occurred, the YAML exception. Name of an alias node must contain at least one character. Name null. Config false. Direct commands. Oh, it's not supposed to be a star. It's a minus sign. So you should just edit that right there and then in place and click save. Under commands, it's listed with an asterisk.
I see it.
It's supposed to be a minus sign. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably because I've copied and pasted from something else. If I just do this, that'll still work, right?
No, you need the minus sign to replace the star. Because commands needs to be an array.
I don't need to do that for config, no?
What? No, because that represents an object, but commands represents an array. Not that one. To the left. One to the left. Your other left. Your other left. Yep.
I got my left.
There you go. Even gave you a nice feedback window so you can't hurt yourself.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, let's go. Okay, well let's try running that again.
Okay, now.
A history. When you've got a spare moment, history would be great. So I can just go up. But yeah.
Say that again. Oh, like you want to? Yeah, of course you want to do that, don't you? Yep, that's a reasonable request. I have wanted that myself. Thank you for changing my priorities.
That's not priority. It's just nice to have. Okay, what's it doing now? Yep, switch to switchboard. Why are you going to switchboard? I've just told you to do test runner.
Why? Because the previous interactions had an error. So it's like, I'm going to send you to the switchboard because your shit didn't work. Be nice to just click that button now, wouldn't it, buddy?
It would be.
You're just like, click.
I wonder if we can do.
No.
It can't go forget everything you just said. Let's start again. Well, actually, maybe.
You know what you should have done is don't do the run tests folder bit. Just do the forward slash. I'd just go / test file runner.md and leave it at that, and that should drop you over.
But it needs a target.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Let me do it for you since you're being stubborn. Oh, no, I can't. I don't have access to this thread. Never mind.
Right. I'm going to start a new thread. And...
what are you doing?
Fuck. I'm fucking it out now.
What are you doing? You can press Control Y to make a new thread, FYI.
You said that.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. I was just trying to, don't use the hotkeys,
Right, what did it say? Right, the first thing was get rid of the stars in test file runner, I think it was.
Yeah, why don't you start by saving that so that it doesn't get broken? Test assessor. Test assessor had the errors.
Test assessor, that's right. I did save it. Okay, and then I said this.
I tell you, you should just do you should do that in 2 prompts. Like, just do the switch, and then once you're switched, then do the command, because the command seems to confuse router.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so if I do that...
Yeah, then you should get a good clean switch, and then...
boom, test file runner, and then I can do... that.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Can you show the commit graph?
Sure.
Oh, she's busy. It's a lot of steps.
It's doing something. Right, what's it doing? This is our target. Shalom, switch nearby.
It's quite cool, man.
Okay, that's right. TBS is
quite
cool. So establish. Yes, it will. Test path is correct. All going well so far.
So far, so good.
Switch alone. Pump chains. Yeah, the switch has been made by a swallow prompt was true. TBS report. Second test case switch nearby. Yeah, okay. Third case, switch with extra information capture scenario. Yeah, I'm looking to write some recipes. Yeah, agent name, deploy switch to.
It's looking good.
Well, so far.
Confirm the test case count. Yep.
Yeah. assertion error. Why?
Unexpected tool call. Okay, that's good. I'm seeing that too. Now, can you share this thread for me?
Yeah, sure.
And then I'll show you how I've been using this thing to debug the inner workings of the machine that I can't wait to get off of.
There you go. Right. You have the screen.
Okay. Please, please, can I spend some time on performance tuning soon? Like, I'm just dying. I'm like, it's gonna be so good for everyone. It's like the best use of my time. Trust me.
Man, it brings me way back to when I was like 18, when I was writing computer games, and it'd run like a dog, but it'd run right, and you're just desperate to get it to run smooth, and you knew exactly how to do it.
I know, but who's got the time is the thing.
Yeah.
Confirm test count done. Test router.test. Assertion error unexpected tool call. Right, so this is what I do. I go into the file explorer, I pull up io.json, which is where all the magic happens. I then look at this in viewer. Oh no, sorry, my bad. The magic happens somewhere else. My bad. I go into threads. Threads is where I grab this thread, the NXA thread, and I look inside it, and this is the raw data that backs this message thread.
Okay.
Yes. Right, and now I want to scroll right down the bottom because I know that it's one of the last test messages that I have to deal with.
You have told me about that once before, and I've forgotten it or dismissed it as not in short-term memory.
And then
that would be really quite cool. So, how do I interpret this?
Well, I'm still trying to figure that out. So just settle down.
How'd you reached?
So we said assistant tool call, and it did confirm case count. So that's the agent. The assistant came back with a tool call. The tool call ID was this. The function name was confirm case count. So that's this one.
Yeah.
This was the arguments provided, and then in the same response, the assistant also made another tool call, which was test case runner test. So that's this one. And then it also did the second one with case index. So we had case index 0, case index 1, case index 2, no prizes for guessing the one after that, case index 3. Okay, and then it started to do what? Then the response came back where tool call ID, this one was the very first one, ends in sexy G.
Yeah.
And then the second tool call came back, ends in 97 Zuckerberg, and that, where's 97 Zuck? There's 97 Zuck. But now we're up to this one. So this one with case index 1 didn't actually execute before the thread went back. I think unexpected tool call is that it didn't actually finish its tool calls for some reason.
Was it async?
I don't know, buddy. That's an error in Artifact that something's not running right because it shouldn't have. It's like it. Let me just think about this. Like, because the responses didn't come back. You know, like it's just the thread just died.
I'll tell you what, that alarm that I ignored about 50 minutes ago was to get the dogs up.
Oopsie.
So if you
Should we
want
call
some,
it there? And then I'll. There's nothing else. What else is there to go through tonight? Is that pretty much it?
Well, what I was going to say is if you've got more time, I don't know what time you got. I can be absent for 10 minutes, let you think about this and come back on, or we can pick up tomorrow, whichever you.
I think why don't I spend the remaining time I have tonight to trace down this error, find out what it is. If I can fix it in time, I'll tell you. If not, I'll tell you. I'll have to fix it later. But that's cool. That is an error in Artifact. I have everything I need to fix that problem. Thank you.
Brilliant. So you've got the thread here. That's what I'm trying to do. Is just call router.test.md. If that passes, because it's a real simple test, then happy days. Then in the background, I've got an ever-widening list of hammer tests. I've also got just the first hammer test, which is to create a customer. Now, one of the things I was going to ask you about is in hammertest.md at the moment. There is inside the header, the meta. There is various things, and I was going to ask you to kindly remind me about what each of these things are.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, do you want to go through that now? They're mostly garbage. Like I was just
right. Okay.
Though I was just experimenting when we were on a call about what we could put in there, you know, and we were just.
So if you go into Scott's hammer test, which should be there.
No,
it's not there. Why is it not there?
Because I haven't cleared my session data.
Do you want me to take over? Should have it.
Given that I'm in your thread,
you should have the same thing. Actually, yeah, you're right. That is odd. Oh, it'll be in the main because I've not. I did it in the main after I created this thread. I think maybe.
Main on GitHub. How do I get to this file?
Yes, it will be in GitHub because I committed earlier this morning. So, or I'm talking total bollocks.
I think you're talking total bollocks because I would have seen it come in.
Well, let me see where it is. GitHub, where are you?
Here we go. So I got multiple hammer test.md in the Scott mud pit.
Yes,
that
single
sounds
hammer
like
test.
you actually.
Yes, that's the one. Scott. Single hammer test is the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So what I've done is stripped down. Now the question is, I don't know if there's anything dangling under file system, because remember I created the CRM entities. Right at the top. You're not in single hammer test. You're in multiple. That's a piece of shit at the moment. Right.
What do you want? When I put that in there during our experimentation, I'd intended that you might want to scope the file system, but I'm not sure what that achieves, given that the whole system is sort of branched. You know, like.
Right. So what I'm trying to achieve here is now there's two ways of going about this. CRM entities has a whole bunch of test data in it.
Yeah.
It's like a snapshot of a live system.
Right.
There's one of two ways of doing this. Either point it at that snapshot and I'm running tests against that snapshot. So, for example, if I did a simple customer creation, create John Doe, I know that there are 30 customers already in there, and then the next test would be something like count the number of customers. There should be 31 because I've just created one. Or I can start with a blank sheet and say simple customer creation, create Doe, and then it's like create 30 of those, and then you have the live system without having to refer to CRM entities because you're starting from a blank sheet of paper, but now you've also got 30 customers to go with. So there's kind of two ways to be done.
So you're trying to say what the contents of the starting file system should be.
Right, and it can be blank.
Yeah,
and that is perfectly reasonable.
I think what that really... obviously, we're going to have to start with blank for now, but I think what you really want, or the feature that would give you exactly that, is the to say what the starting commit was. So you'd find a commit within the Git universe, and you'd be like, start from this commit, right?
Yeah, you've been using the CRM for a year, so what I want to do is take a snapshot of that, and that's my starting in order to run these tests.
Right, so you want to be able to have a pre-populated thing. So I think what you do, like, because we don't have a pre-populated thing other than HAL, if I gave you that feature now, you wouldn't be able to use it. So...
Well, it's that, and then it goes to the second one, which I'm quite happy about, which is, now these tests, are they run in sequence or in parallel?
At the moment, they are run in sequence, but what I intend to do is run them in parallel and add the feature we talked about saying before, so that if you put before, then they will be run in sequence even when I turn the parallelism on.
Grand. Okay, so that's not the biggest crocodile right now. So what I would do is when I go to the multiple tests, I'll make sure it makes sense. So I'll create one customer, create two customers, create three customers, delete a customer, and write the tests, assuming a blank sheet.
Right.
And if it's run in sequence, then each test should pass, assuming that
the previous tests passed. It's run in sequence, but it is isolated at the moment. So even though it is run in sequence right now, each test is in its own branch, and so it can't.
Oh, that's not going to work there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need the before. You need the before thing.
Yeah, because otherwise, other than creating stuff, you can't actually test anything.
Well, you can if you just do it. Oh wait, what are you trying? So what are you trying to do here? You want to ensure that a customer agent can create a new customer record. Okay.
Yeah.
And then ensure the customer agent can update an existing customer's details. Oh, so that's why you relied on. Okay. So tomorrow I'll give you the before feature in the test, because testing is number one, right?
Because otherwise, I'm assuming some kind of, because otherwise it's trivial. All I'm doing is testing the one-off functions. Well, actually, all I'm testing is create, because I can't read because there's nothing to read.
Yeah.
I can't update, can't delete because there's nothing. So it's just all I'm doing is creating stuff.
Okay, buddy. I will do that for you tomorrow.
Cool.
Whoa, man, it's starting to feel.
Yeah. It's starting to feel like we're actually building something, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah, so in terms of my priorities or my pony requests, we can get that one router hello world to work.
Yep.
Brilliant.
I'll do that right now.
After that, I can. That gives me a chance to do all the assuming a blank sheet of paper tests.
Right.
But then I can't go any deeper.
Okay.
Which requires the before, or some kind of file system. Here's what before looks like, a snapshot.
Right.
But once we've got that, then yeah, we're cooking.
Okay. Thank you very much for the insight into natural language debugging. That is powerful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment of riches right now.
That's insane, dude. If you have that tool, like you don't even get this kind of tool in the modern world to be running in a cloud native system and then be able to step back and forwards. That kind of feature is only just landed in the guy that made Postgres decided to make a cloud,
yeah, I
right?
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Decided to make a cloud version of JavaScript that could do this time travel feature. We
yeah,
knew from the blockchain world we'd already had that for a while in various forms, but now having it directly in NL to
yeah.
be able to trace a running system in that way is absolutely just mind blowing, insane to be able to do that because you
The
can't
thing
even
is,
do that any other way, really.
if you match that with testing, it would be. I can't think of a way you could actually corral so many steers. 10,000 threads doing its own thing, um, without being able to do that and have the testing. How would you ever change anything? You'd be shit scared about changing anything in your system.
Yeah, right. It's too big to. You sort of need to be continually modifying it
Yeah,
all the time while it's running, right? Like
yeah,
instead
yeah.
of
And
yeah.
I know you're not you're not shitting on someone else in the next office who's been working on something else.
Mm.
And in order to be anything close to production, it's kind of it falls out of the blue sky. Really, it's kind of obvious. And now we've tried to do it, and it's like, yeah,
Mm. Oh, this is so much fun, and like realizing that debugging NL is now it's out. That's our life now from here on in.
yeah,
NL debugging.
yeah, and yeah, I'm loving it. NL debugging
Yeah.
NL is just another programming language which is noisy and broken and uncertain and all this stuff that you used to do when you're trying to actually do machinery.
Mm.
How do you get a machine to do the right thing when you've got uncertain components, and how do you get it to do it every time? Same thing.
Hmm. Sweet. Okay. I'll message
So
you one way or another with either a success or fail tonight, and then
yeah,
I'll carry
yeah,
on tomorrow with that extra stuff.
cool. And I'm just going to continue in the meantime, thinking about what I'm just going to assume that what we talked about is going to be there in terms of the tests,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to get a good suite of hammer tests
Cool.
together, so that when it works once, then it works 1,000 times.
Sweet.
All right, man.
All right.
Okay, we're getting there.
I'll
I
stop
have
the
to admit,
recording.
man. Yeah, I have to admit, I am fucking having